Without any further ado, Mr. Bob Patton.
Thanks. I'm going to talk about water, and mixed in with water, I'm going to talk a little bit about me, not because I want to brag about me, but because I want to share what some of my values are, because I think they're important. What I'm going to do this morning, I don't have a big fancy presentation. I'm not going to say, okay, this, then this, then this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you about 10 pictures. And then when I get to the last slide, there's just going to be a bunch of words up there, things that kind of prompt different subjects. And I'm going to talk about those subjects with you. And I'm going to encourage you to ask me questions as we go and engage with me, because the whole idea is for you to learn about some things. So the first thing I got here, first picture I got, we're talking about water and how important water is. Now you take it for granted, like it's really me. You go in here and you turn on the faucet and there's water, right? And the United States is the one place in the world, the only place in the whole world, where you can go anywhere in this country and you can turn on the water faucet and you can drink that water. That water is going to be clean. It's going to exist at certain standards that are set by the government that ensure that you're going to have clean, safe water. There's no place else in the world where you can do that. And I've mentioned Peru is one of the places where my friends and I, go. I've been going down there. I've been down there twice this year, and this is a picture that I took in Peru. In one of the little villages where we operate. This woman is getting her water. And you can see there's just a faucet there. Am I blocking your way?
No, I'm good.
Can you kind of see? There's just a faucet there. This village has maybe 200 homes in it. And in amongst those 200 homes, there are 2 faucets. And she has to go up to the corner to where that faucet is, and she has to fill up her bucket. And that bucket is the water that she's going to use in her house to drink, the water that she's going to use to, wash clothes, to wash herself, to cook with, every bit of water. I mean, instead of just going up and turning on the faucet like we do, she's got to walk back to her house with that bucket, and she doesn't even have it as bad as some other people, because another place, this little girl is in the Central African Republic, and she's at a well, and our church I go to paid to have this well built here. And really, there was no safe water. There was no water at all. And now there are ladies that they don't have the bucket to carry. They have the pots that they put on top of their heads. And some of those ladies walk for an hour with a big pot on top of their head to get the water back to their house. So you can just understand and appreciate what a blessing it is to live in the United States and have water. And the next time you're in the shower, just thank God for showers, because the kids I know in Peru, most of them have never had a shower in their whole life. They've never known that joy. So. We are so blessed here. Other thing I wanted to say about water at this point is there's a lot of water on Earth. There's all these oceans and everything. Does anybody know what percentage of the water is drinkable use? Yes.
Well, there's 97% salt water. There's 2% glacier and 1% drinking water.
Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You gave a better answer than I was going to give, because I forgot about the glaciers. I was going to say 99 and 1, but you're right. You're right. And that 1% of fresh water that's usable, the same water has been around all this while. So that like when we get a glass of water, we might be drinking dinosaur pee. because that's the same water that was here hundreds and thousands of years ago. But the thing is, you can take dinosaur pee, and you can take all the pee out, and you can just leave the pure water. Because one of the other things about water is that we're running out of it. As a population keeps growing every year, we need more and more, but there's not more and more. There's still that 1%. Then the picture on the right is showing how much water runs off an average roof. You have a roof that's 2,000 square feet, how much water runs off, and you can see on the right-hand side of Texas, we get a lot of rain, and so there's blues and all that. As you come west in Texas, there's less and less rain. In fact, around Houston, our average rainfall is somewhere, I think, around 60 inches a year.
So are we close?
Yeah,
Are we in the green section?
we're right here. We're right here.
Well, that's where
So we get about 60 inches of rain a year. If you start driving west, like you're going to drive out
hotter
on the Katy Freeway, every time you go about 15 miles, there's 1 inch less of rain. So you drive down, you got 60 inches, 59, 58, 57. You get out here someplace out in West Texas, it's just desert, because they don't have hardly any rain at all. The water authority that I'm on, what we're doing mostly is transporting water. We got big pipes like this that we have in the ground, and we're moving water from one place to another. You might not realize is how lakes like that are really places to store water. You know how many lakes God put into Texas? One. There's only one natural lake in all of Texas, and it's Lake Texarkana. Every other lake that we have, Lake Travis, Lake Conroe, Lake Livingston, all the lakes you've ever heard of, they were all man-made. And the reason that they were man-made is for storing water like that. Lake Conroe is just a big storage tank for the city of Houston. And then when we had really bad drought in 2012, they had to use a lot of that water to feed into the city, and so the water level went down, and there were people lived up on Lake Conroe. They thought that water was for them to float around in their boats and stuff on, and some of them got pretty upset because the lake level was going down. But the truth of the matter was that water wasn't there for them. It's there to store water to drink. 30 years ago, all the water we used in the city of Houston came out of the ground.
Oh yeah.
We had wells. You dig a well, and there's water down in the ground. Anybody have any idea why we don't do that anymore? Yeah.
Because once you take the water out of the soil or whatever, there's a layer down there that leaves it and it sinks, and so it
There he
creates
goes.
land.
A plus. What's your name? Aaron? Like Aaron, you get an A plus today. That's excellent. You understand it. Now there's a lot of places like you go over to San Antonio and Austin, and they have what they call the Edwards Aquifer. That's where the water is under the ground, and they have recharge zones, which are areas that the rain falls and it sinks down into the ground and it replenishes the aquifer. That doesn't happen where we live here. What we have here is right underneath us, there's about 7 or 8 feet of clay. It's old, gooey, nasty clay. And what happens, we go down here below in the lower part of the clay, and we suck the water out, and then the rest of the clay starts to squish together, and the clay squishes, just like Aaron was saying. And it comes down, 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 and once that clay squishes, you can't ever get it to go back up. It just stays down. So, and we call that subsidence. And what happened about 30 years ago, on the east part of Houston, out near Baytown, there was a subdivision, a whole neighborhood called Brownwood, and they built beautiful houses out there, nice houses out there, right out near the water. You can see the water out there, and they were up about 17 feet above the water. So that's, the ceiling in here is, what is that, about 10 feet? And so you can picture about twice the ceiling. They're quite a ways up above the ceiling, above the water. Well, over a period of years, that clay just started coming down, down, down.
So they
And those houses sunk 18 feet. They came down, and if they were only 17 feet above the water level, you know what happened?
flood.
Flood! The whole neighborhood flooded. The whole thing had water, everybody had water. And there was no way to lift it back up. They had to,
And you couldn't just.
everybody lost their houses. They had to tear all those houses down. It's all part of the Gulf of Mexico now. And so the folks in Houston said, this is happening all over Houston. We're all sinking. And if we keep doing this, we keep taking the water out of the ground, pretty soon, we're not gonna have a city left. We're all gonna sink, we're all gonna sink. So they formed an organization called the Houston Galveston Subsidence District. And the Houston Galveston Subsidence District, their job was to stop the subsidence, to stop everything from sinking. And they said the way we're going to stop from sinking is we're going to use surface water, water that's up here on the surface. We're not going to take any more water out of the ground. So the surface water is coming from Lake Houston and Lake Livingston, Lake Conroe, Trinity River. The Trinity River feeds down to the East Water Plant, and the Lake Houston feeds the Northeast Water Plant. He was talking about